Good evening, everyone. It's 8:30 Friday, and it's me again on our Facebook Live. How's everyone? It's 16th of July today, and I'm not sure whether what actually announced by the government. Are we lifted or are we not lifted? Are we extended? So those people that are online, say hi to me by tapping in the comment. And also, right, as usual, if let's say you're from Malaysia, you give me a thumbs up, okay? Like. And if let's say you are from Singapore, I want you to give me a heart shape, okay? I know there's quite some Singapore audience also. And then after that, if let's say you're from anywhere else, from any other countries, please give me an angry button, okay? I want you to just type in, like, just flood the angry button if you're not from Malaysia or Singapore, all right? So for me to see, to able to call out your name, you need to allow approve the name from StreamYard so that I can actually call your name instead of telling or calling you a Facebook user. Okay, so nice, and very happy and excited to have a very special guest. Like I said, okay, today, this entire week, I have been really busy because workload again, and trying to reconnect with a lot of customers and clients, because I sort of expected that we are not going to be open up. So we're going to be extended for another few weeks. So how are you guys doing along the, lockdown craze? Okay. And today, very special day, because I'm very honored to get some special guest that is she's from Mindvalley. Okay. And actually when I asked her, right, can I say this, Mindvalley, I was really, really curious about this company. The reason why is because it has been like if you let's say get to work with Mindvalley, it's like, wow, oh my gosh, you got to work with this company, right? And it's like so glamorous to work with Mindvalley. For those of you who don't really know what Mindvalley is, Mindvalley is an online platform where you learn a lot of things, which is unusual. I would say why unusual is because you learn about like meditation, you learn about like how to make yourself have very, very good brain, okay, by subscribing to very good course inside. So it has a very, very exclusive program. I'm a Mindvalley user, so I really, really love it. And then just go and check out what it is. And many people didn't know that the founder of Mindvalley is actually from Malaysia, right? And they started off with just a very small company, and they became very, very big, and internationally, worldwide, many people love them because of the content generated. I think we will bring out our special guest, Shin. Hello.
Hey, hi Samantha.
I'm so excited.
Hi, thank you for having me. Thanks for having me.
Yeah. So how are you? Why are you busy right now?
I am doing generally well because I'm very, very, I guess, lucky to be in the industry that is actually not being impacted a lot by the pandemic. And in fact, our sales actually got spiked when the pandemic actually happened. I guess because
a lot of people.
Sorry?
You're not impacted by the pandemic, right? Many people will want to bash you already, wow, you're in this industry that was not, affected by the pandemic. Yeah.
Yep. I guess it's because I think more and more people have to stay home anyway. And I think a little bit of what Mindvalley does, for those who didn't know, the vision that my founder vision has is actually to take over the education industry. So what I personally resonate a lot is that, yes, I actually have a master's degree, but dude, like when you come out at a time, there's so much things to be a good manager, to have like good leadership, to actually manage stress and whatnot. So that's where like all this meditation stuff, all this relationship, like how do you build authentic relationship, and how do you have a better health so that you can have, more energy, stuff to actually do more things. And those things are definitely not going to taught you in I don't know, even in PhD, I guess. I don't think people are going to taught you that, but it's an essential skills for everyone to actually have, regardless of which industry and which field you are. So I guess even the university right now, even if you go to Harvard, right now, you are actually still doing online courses. I think that's the main reason why this industry is not impacted. But I guess what it's not all rainbow, it's not all like fancy and stuff. But I guess what's impacted is definitely the team dynamic. We do have to adapt to work, remotely. But I guess the company do have very good system, very good infrastructure to actually set us working as this in this way. Because before I joined, which is before the pandemic, I think they already have like some system in place. So I think the changes and adaptability for everyone is rather quickly compared to other company.
Yeah, and I know that Mindvalley is a very diverse company where there's like how many countries of people working in Mindvalley, and they come either all over the world. Maybe I don't know how many countries of like employee, like where are they from, and they were really working in this business, and it's very unique. It's unusual, and getting hired by Mindvalley. Do you want to share a little bit like what's your journey like, getting, I think I'm very sure this one, right, many people were like, wow, I dying want to know, like I want to work with Mindvalley. It's really like very okay, like it's glamorous, right, to work with such a big company, right? A well-known company. Like they are like Google, actually. Like almost to me, I felt that they were like the online education Google. You see, and the way you interact, the way the employees were interacting, getting projects done, the dynamic is so different. You want to share a little bit? I mean, like these are like insider stuffs. You see, yeah.
To be honest, to get into Mindvalley is definitely not easy. It's even harder for me to, I guess, apply for like any other job that I have ever applied for. Like I applied for L'Oreal, I applied for Estee Lauder, those scale of company. But when I was applying for Mindvalley, so aside from all these tests that you have to go through, but also depending on which department you applied for. Well, personally, I am in the advertising, which is a performance team. So you do need to know a little bit on like how to use the pivot table, how to read data and stuff like that. So those are like really, really hard, like really a lot of tests, and then you have to go through a lot of round of interview as well. But that's something I actually appreciate them the most, because they're not just judging you by your qualification, your experience, but also most importantly your personalities. And yeah, so and the most, I think, special thing is that you actually have to do a video cover letter. They have 3 questions. I guess these questions to you. I forgot what the question was already, but I guess it's a very good way to have to kind of filter out people who are already not culture fit in Mindvalley. I know it's like actually it's quite hard. It's quite hard for people who are maybe introvert or not used to be in front of the camera to do that. But if you just go Google like Mindvalley cover later on YouTube, you can see like there is a lot of people, they do it so amazingly done. It's like a mini movie like that.
Oh,
yeah,
I
guess
right.
Yeah, I guess it's a good thing to filter out people who doesn't fit.
How many rounds? And did you get to talk to Vision finally, like before you get hired? I mean, did you get to talk to the founder yet? Not to, or what are the roles that? Okay, just a quick tip. How many position would he probably would personally interview? Like what sort of
Definitely
position?
the senior and exec level.
Right.
It's actually not senior. I think it's almost head of department and above.
Yeah. So I think you went through many rounds, right? And not many people can stand that.
Yeah, and I think it's because I am pretty unsure as well, because where I'm coming from, I used to manage a team of marketing, right? So we do social media, I have website, I have events, I have KOLs, but I also have ads. So when I go into like a bigger company, definitely at a time my concern was, first, I just want to look for a company that has really extremely good culture. So that's why I actually don't left a lot of choice. And I also and my passion is actually very, very focused. I kind of it never has changed before, which is beauty. But aside from beauty, then at a time I was just like, okay, so if I couldn't get job in beauty, so I just want to look for a very good culture. So that's my only criteria at the time. So when I was transitioning my where I'm coming from to Mindvalley, I think it's hard for me to pick a team, because I was like, I want advertising for sure, but I also want a little bit of like what the other team has done. So that actually kind of I actually have like extra interview. So just to clarify, just make sure. So they just want to make sure that I'm happy on where I am, and also it's going to be a good fit, things like that.
Yeah, I think a lot of times, I think many CEOs or entrepreneurs or even business owners knew that it's very important to hire the right people, especially those people that is culturally fit. It's very, very important. Down to even, the janitor of your company, right? They need to carry that spirit that is willing to work for the company. So I think they employ a very good culture. Being an education industry, I think they should, and they need to, because they need to uphold that kind of spirit, you see. But I really do think that it's very important for that. So pretty much about how to get into Mindvalley, but maybe I would like to like roughly know like how has your brand industry or marketing industry did change. Let's not maybe it's not about Mindvalley, but what have you observed, because you have been so many years in the branding and marketing context sphere, before the pandemic and after the pandemic. Did you see any major changes? Like what sort of trend did you see? What actually happens right now? I do know that it's getting so much competitive right now online. But
Yes.
I'm not sure. Maybe you can give like a pointer or two about like what actually happens in this current branding and marketing space now.
So if you talk to people who are in e-com, in digital marketing, for that it's a very long time. Actually, this time is a very good period of them, because I believe during the first few months of the pandemic hit, CPM, all the costs for on Facebook actually went extremely low, but then afterward it went extremely high. So I think that's the first thing that as a marketer you need to be very aware on your daily metrics, and then what metrics you should actually look at. But I feel like that is actually something very, very technical to marketers, digital marketers in specifically. So because your audience is mostly entrepreneurs, right? So another trend that I actually saw is that for people who are able to have the team that is young enough to adapt into the social media world, into the online world, that can actually pivot very, very well, and in fact that actually also can turn employees into the spokesperson or to the brand person of the brand, and everyone become a salesperson for you. But for people who couldn't pivot, I think that they might get scared, or they get, I think, nervous or something, because of the revenue didn't come in and stuff like that. So they started to do something that is super not brand aligned. For example, in my industry, I saw ads that is like you get a copywriter, you get a like digital marketer, you get a graphic designer, and everything, right, in like 500 a month. I was like, dude, that's impossible. So but I don't know, what do you feel like as an entrepreneur when you saw this thing? Would you actually get it? So this kind of thing would you just go into an endless price war situation.
Yeah, so basically I just want to share my painful experience going through. Like I have been so I have been in the phase where I hired marketeers, and I not hired like managing myself. So the difference between it would be like, okay, you can never get a very okay lah, put it very, very simply. If let's say you have the budget, right, you do need to spend more on the budget so that your quality of the ads is actually better. Can you imagine, right? You don't have like a better team for you to manage all these things, and you're actually spending money into like Facebook ads that is, now cost per click is so high, right? And when you don't get the message right, you don't craft a very good posh, or I don't know, I wouldn't say posh lah, but the right Facebook ads and all those, and actually you're just dumping money into the ocean. I just purely felt that. And versus like last time, you can just hire people, say, oh, hire a Fiverr, a designer to get this done, and but I don't think it works now unless like you're super under budget, but then you have to like start interfering into this, meaning to say like you cannot like hands off. Like if let's say you have very low budget, you have to step in, like check branding messages, check what they come out with the copy, and then sometimes then you will complain and say, oh, might as well I do it myself, you see. You get to in that mode. I definitely understand how a lot of entrepreneurs is, having this kind of struggle. So if let's say
before you, I have to cut you off because it's not exactly correct. So if you're asking like, can a low quality production creative get a very high return in ad spend, meaning high ROI, is that possible? The answer is yes. The answer is yes.
I've seen that before as well, right?
Yeah, you sent me a few examples as well, right?
Yeah. I mean, what I meant is like the low quality ones, do you think that they are crafted or it was accidental?
So actually the top performing ad that we have right now that is giving us 200% return on ad spend is actually the most raw, the most unedited, the most how do you say it? Like natural, almost like a vlog style kind of vlog. So I think the production quality in this era is really not the first criteria of justify whether you get a successful or not successful ad, but rather I would say, what is your intention? A lot of people, they don't set the intention right at the beginning. Then they lost their brand voice, they lost their brand personality. So I couldn't reveal the brand, but something that is very, very close to my heart. They position themselves as a premium, high tech and like advanced kind of company, right? But because of the pandemic, things couldn't open. Of course, sales got affected and stuff like that. And then they now actually have to pivot it into an online MLM kind of thing. So you went from a very premium position to MLM. I think there's a huge gap. And how do you going to maintain your reputation to people who are used to your regular customer who is actually purchasing the premium, things from you? And how are you going to position yourself when we're actually in an MLM? Because you know that MLM is all about, I mean, not all MLM is bad. Not all MLM is bad.
Yeah. I think it's the target audience became different, right? Because once you this is like a management business model kind of change. It's a very, very huge thing. I think it's even beyond marketing and branding now. So that day I was actually in a discussion with a team of like entrepreneurs, and we were really talking about when there are important decisions of business owners, especially involving business model, or you were trying to pivot into something else. You know who is the most important person that needs to sit into this board meeting? It's the marketing strategist. It may not be the finance at all, but it's the marketing strategist. Because why the marketing strategist should sit in this kind of position level is because, hey, for the past 10 years, I've been like gathering so much audience and fans in this particular era and with this particular voice and message. And now you are pivoting, right? When you pivot, what am I going to do with all these people that I have nurtured, right? And many people didn't know, and they would think that, marketing and just give them the money and they'll just do something out of it, which is entirely wrong. And I have this huge, sort of like a huge wake up, like, when people, who are the main people when it talks to business model, it's your marketing people, it's your finance. Okay, maybe finance is not so important as well, because the owner would probably have to be able to calculate, what is the odds of the entire, unless you're into an R&D, you're like suddenly launching rockets, right? Then maybe you need to have like finance team coming up. But when you're talking about like commercial items, you need people that is dedicated looking into like, how am I going to strategize my brand, right? And I remember one very, very big brand, Oatly. I'm not sure whether you know about Oatly. Oatly brand, I super like that brand. Okay, I drink a lot of that Oatly coffee. Okay, what they do is they don't even have like a brand. They don't even have a brand or marketing um, a department per se, but they only have like one brand specialist or a marketing specialist that his role every month is to sit into one department. So he will sit into the sales department and then strategize the message. Are we talking correctly to the, to this, to the audience? And because he or she knows very well what is the brand message, how long have they come along? So they don't even have like a department per se. So what they do is they will sit into like this sales meeting, and they will go to like even finance meeting, because sometimes finance say, I'll cut off the marketing budget, right? So this person will actually sit in and give advice, because how we came along in our branding, I'm going to give this kind of advice because I'm going to protect my brand. So a lot of times I didn't realize it until when we were talking, I started to realize that, hey, this is a very important role, you see, when they talk about your market, your model, and about those fans that you have gathered all along. How are you going to, it's sort of like a betrayal basically, right? Because suddenly your thing pivoted from, doing something to something else, right? So that involves a lot of like branding strategy into it, which I think people will always think that marketing and branding starts from like spending ads. But to me, I always think about like it starts way from the top, where the initial business model and message is coming from. What do you think?
But of course, we don't have to like overcomplicated stuff as well. So I guess when it comes to overall branding, you do have to sort of like set your value proposition. But if we are just back to the previous topic, right? Before pandemic and then post pandemic, do you need to change? Yes, obviously you need to change, because post pandemic you do need to be a little bit more caring. You need to care. You need to definitely incorporate more of the COVID message inside your branding, your marketing. That's something I think most of the big brand does as well. But now, like a year after, in a year into a pandemic, right? Do you still want to use that scarcity, that pandemic, that lose hope? That's where you're going to change. But I think when it comes to value proposition, as in like this product pre-pandemic, maybe you already listed 1, 2, 3. But post-pandemic, maybe you do need to constantly test and see what is the message that actually sticks with the customer, and that something can be done so cheaply in advertising. So here's a tip that I also like. I was just got this message from my team actually in Mindvalley, is that because the amount of money we spend in ads, our ads will get fatigue in. Not, I wouldn't say quickly, it really depends. So I don't have a fixed time per se. So when we want to do a refresh campaign, right, how do we then came out with a new value proposition that actually fits to what the customer wants these days with the same product? We are not changing the product. So the product is the same. How can we change the marketing message? So all you can do, you can actually just do a post-it ad. A post-it ad literally just means a square images with text on it. That's it. So anyone can do it. Anyone can really do it. Just, I don't know, use it in your Instagram and then type and screenshot that it's your ad already. So what you can do is you can test 3 value proposition, or like 3 messages that you wanted to test on this product, and then run it on the test for 3 days, and then just to see which one has the more click-through rate, which one has like more click-through rate, and all those things. So those things can be tested. But I guess one thing that you do need to know your baseline. So one thing I guess Mindvalley do really, really well is that everything we do is recorded in a DNA. So every time we have innovation, we are actually working on something. So it's not like this time we are building this building, next time we are building another building. Every time when we are building stuff, it's always on the same building, but we add maybe more ID, more architecture, more lighting, and more stuff. So things you can see, like we are. So why I think that's one of the secret. Personally, I felt why people look as why we can actually progress so well despite during this pandemic is because it's never like doing 10 things at the same time. But I mean, we do as well, but more, even though we're doing 10 things at the same time, it's all building up on what we previously has done. And I think coming from where I was before, this is something that I've never seen in other companies.
Yeah, I think the DNA of a company, it's very important. Okay, we were going really, really in depth, right? Because this thing, right, many entrepreneurs or many people are not aware of like what is the DNA of the company. Like, okay, it may be also a process. Okay, I definitely understand. Like when I started, definitely I don't have a very strong brand message because I don't know yet because I've just started. I'm in the market, right? Then after that, alongside when things evolved, I sort of seen a lot of people start to have like, oh, I strike this, and I realized that my market segment is actually getting, I'm good at this. I'm good in like my unique selling point. So if let's say you were talking about like my industry, let's say plastic injection molding, in my context, in my industry, so if you ask the typical conventional company, they do like help you to inject the product, right? They help you to produce your product. But alongside when I was in this business, after so many years, I can say like really after a lot of years, after talking to you, after talking to like my message changed, we started to change and started to become very solid. It was, I think, only until like very recently, might have been 2 to 3 years ago, that we started to realize that, hey, we are super good at product designs. So like we're super good in like solving product problems. So it becomes like, oh, this is where we want to focus on. Like we're super excited about like new projects and also like sustainability. So these are the two tags that is. So the DNA of a company, we can safely say that we can say no to certain things. Last time it was like everything, yes, we want to do, right? And now it's like we know there's something that we don't want to do and we don't want to involve. And I think that's what Shin, you're trying to tell all of us, that you need to have the foundation where the DNA is from, and then after that you are building your value adding towards your DNA, right? Your value adding your brand message where you are from. But okay, frankly speaking, I want to ask, because Mindvalley, definitely, do you think that they already have this like 10 years ago, and or it was an evolvement? I just want to know lah. I mean, yeah.
Well, I wasn't there 10 years ago, so I wouldn't know, but definitely everything, just this from my time being there, I think we change quite often. We change even though like Mindvalley is a pretty established company, but the way we operate is actually very, very like a startup. But I think what really which is actually is very, very good for everyone in the company. But what never change is the value. So we have a very, very big vision, which is to I hope I get it right, which is to I guess inspire which is inspire 1 billion of lives. Either inspire or like
nice. Yes.
Yeah, yes. So that's the core vision, and that never changed. So whatever we do, right, it's always towards this big vision. But how do we go to 1 billion? Definitely, the how do evolve a lot over time, because maybe what used to work before, like video sales letter, those kind of things might not work as well compared to now, because I think when they first started, Facebook isn't over. It's not a thing.
Yeah,
they don't have.
Yeah. And do you think that vision get popular through when is the turning point of Mindvalley? Okay, my perception, okay, how I know vision is from the Milo ad. Okay, I'm not sure about you, but I'm actually get hooked by the Milo ad, where he tarnished so much about like the Milo advertisement, and all those, and that's how he got a lot of attention. Where do you think is his really like the attention pivot point?
I think the Milo ad is because it's from a product called WowFit, and that wasn't the product of him. It's actually a product from another author. So I think in Malaysia general, I think why we got hit and we know about vision is because Milo is something very close to our heart. We grow up with drinking it, right? So,
Correct.
but 50, more than 50, I mean, almost 50% of our clients our customers are actually from the US. So I wouldn't
Milo
say
is not
that, I mean, I think they do got I think Vision did get Nestle people to actually have a reduced sugar version. That's because of from the ad.
I
So
see.
yeah. So and that's that. But I think the most pivot part is actually when Vision launched the Silva Ultra Mine. So
And that was
it's a
very recently, right? Was it very recently? Silver Ultraman was launched. So I only get the ad very recently. I mean, like I
it's
only
done by
got
me.
yes. Correct. So that was you were planning that particular ad, right? Silver Ultraman. I have a lot of friends that is attending this. Yeah.
No, I wasn't planning because it's not an old product, but I think it's the biggest product in Mindvalley that get the most ad spend, get the most revenue. So I think that's like having Silva successfully launched. I know that's a 2 million, or I think it's a seven figures launch at the time that we have. So that I think that changed Mindvalley quite a lot.
And I'm just very curious, Shin. Like right now, right? You were happily talking about Mind Valley. So a lot of okay, because I know a lot of people who works with the company, and the HR got a lot of policy. Sorry, I would want to sidetrack a little bit because I get very intrigued about this. Why could you do this, right? Because I have been to like I personally have a lot of friends, I wanted to invite them because I just know that they are generally a lot very knowledgeable in their industry. And when I asked them to actually come out on the live and talk about their perspective from the company point of view, they were super freaked out. They said that they need to get like, you know, um, approval from their HR policies and even management so that they can actually be forefront. You see, they can't even sometimes when you ask them to be on the front view, they're even not telling who or where they are from. They are super reluctant. I'm just very curious how like this company is like, why are they like so super open about it? Like, yeah.
I think Mindvalley are super open for critics. Actually, recently we just got a course of us actually got critics by another coach. So it's actually a fitness program, and what Vision does is I actually heard echo.
Oh, is it?
Yeah, but I think now it's okay. Right. So I think Mindvalley as a company, we are so the culture is very open for critics, and I guess everyone we believes in what we do. So I have nothing to hide from the company because I know that every order that we got, they are all successful people, and we've everything that we launch are all through like proper research and stuff like that. So there is no I'm so proud of the things that we put out in the world. So I have nothing to hide. I think what happened is, as from an employee perspective, why I don't want to be, have this company name being seen with me is because maybe they know the inside thing. They are not comfortable with, having their name aligned with the company. I think that's one. Second thing is, I don't know, I have nothing. I mean, it's not all good. It's not all as great as what Samantha said. We have our difficulties, we have our challenges, but I think they definitely have a very good culture and for you to evolve and change. So even if I have anything bad to say about Vision, and Vision actually saw it, I'm pretty sure like Vision would I'm sure that the response from Vision is like, you could have just come to me before you went on live to talk about this, and he would definitely be very happy to have a talk with me about like all these things. I'm pretty sure about that.
Yeah, I think it's overall. I mean, it's very unique to say that there are companies that are so open about it, right? Because a lot of entrepreneurs, a lot of business owners, they want to firefight, but those people was actually bad mouthing or even people get scared also, like whether am I going to say the wrong thing, right? But to me, it's you come out as very, very transparent in that sense. So it's something that's worth learning also for like entrepreneurs. So that was just a sidetrack, like, okay, sidetrack, because I was just really, really curious, like, oh my gosh, this is so nice, right? And I just want to get back into like the branding strategies, right? I want to have a very, very like big questions that I want to ask about you. Like, okay, is it true? Because a lot of people will always tell me, okay, a lot of marketing gurus, they would say that the more money you spend in your marketing, the more money that you will make, or the more sales that you will make, or even profit that you will make. So what do you think?
The answer is yes, if you know how to do it. It's yes, 100% yes. But because I do have my own clients at the site as well, and yes, I'm not afraid to say it, because everyone in Mindvalley actually have a side job of some sort. Yeah.
Okay, so that's another thing. So I cannot like, okay, so uniquely different, right? Yeah.
Yeah. And I think Vision like the hustle, the entrepreneur kind of mindset as well. So back to what you asked, is the more money you put in the ads, is it working? Yes, of course, but only if the ads has been proven to work. I guess what entrepreneurs need to know, because entrepreneurs, most of the time, they are not the one who doing the ads. So you just need to know that, is this ad being tested? So a lot of the clients, when it comes to me, sometimes they will say, how long do you need in order to see results? Or you say that I have this client, right? So can you just do for me? Because and then can you guarantee return, and then guarantee leads? These kind of things are something that was like, if I can guarantee leads and revenue, I would have worked for you anymore. Have you ever thought of that?
So this was like your pure OS, right? Yeah.
Yeah. If I could guarantee something, why would I market your product, not something else, right? But so back to the question, is it possible that you put more money, you get more return? Yes, but provided that you know how to set things up right, and then your message. So from crafting your message, your value proposition, all the way to your images, what image actually relates more with your clients, and then you combine those two to a video, and then does that work? And then you progress a video to a higher production quality video, and then you incorporate your hero journey, your core message, your branding stuff. It's actually a step-by-step thing. So provided you know how to set things up, you know what metrics to refer to, you know that through data you can actually know exactly what the market is looking for, you can use data to see the product market fit, then yes. Yeah, so usually how we scale up, of course, like if let's say 10 ads that I launch, is it 10 things are gonna get like 100% in return? Of course not. But what to do? So what do you do if those that you didn't it is a bomb, so it didn't get any return? And what do you do with it for those that actually can get you return? What is the way to scale things up? So I think advertising, it's actually a relatively easy thing to learn these days. A lot of people thought it that way because there's so much YouTube tools, there's so much YouTube videos, but I can say advertising is a very expensive skills to master, because when you're spending 3K per month versus you are spending 30,000K per month versus you're spending 7 figures per month, is the skill set will be super different, because to scale things up,
so I think Shane, you
profitably.
there? Yeah, okay. That was like a glitch.
Yeah, because someone called me. I was using my data.
Okay, so just now you were talking about like getting like the skill levels of different people, like 3K, 30K, 7 digit, kind kind of spend, the difference of it, like the skill sets of it, what is the main difference that you see? Well, of course, sometimes is it just a number that you see that the skill set? If let's say I'm spending 1 million ad spend, for the company, 1 million ad spend, for this particular product, when you first hear it, right? I mean, when you first, step into this kind of role, do you have like pressure, like how much money am I supposed to make back, right? Because what is your feeling like? Like when you're spending for your side gig, your other clients, right? Which is not Mindvalley clients, like your another business that you're working on right now, like you're helping people with the marketing and branding, right? So if let's say you were spending 3K, 5K a month versus those people that, okay, I can pay you more, like maybe 30K a month, or those people who actually can spend like 1 million a month, like what's the difference like? I just want to get to know like what's the difference.
That's actually really, really good questions. So when you're spending 3K, you need to be very conservative in your targeting. So you always wanted to go for the lowest hanging fruit, which is like look-alike audiences and retargeting audiences, stuff like that. And you probably would you can only play with like this amount of optimization event. I'm going super technical right now. Like you can only play with this kind of thing that is like try and test it, that that most of the time it's going to work. And so the things that you're going to nail is going to be much lesser. But when you're spending higher up, so another skill, so people just think that when you spend more, just launch more ad set, just launch more. But you wanted to, so not really. I mean, it can be the case, but I think to spend more efficiently, when you are spending 7 figures per month, I think what's more important is how do you spend more efficiently? Because when you're spending 1 million per month, imagine the data that you're actually getting in a month. So data that you're getting from a 3K spend, it's so less that it's insignificant for you to judge that it's you can actually base on it. So it's insignificant. But when you're at 1 million, how can you actually dissect all this data and then you go even further into it so that the ad I would say the money is just more efficiently being put in places that they should be put. So it's actually not expanding, it's actually you going deep down. But when you're at 3K, all you need to do, there's only that few things that you can do. Yeah, I think that's the differences.
Yeah. So do you want to give a process flow for entrepreneurs? Like let's say I'm a startup, right? I probably want to spend it at, like 3K first, right? What typically do you see, like how do they scale? Like from a 3K, when is the time or when is the right time for me to like pump in more money? And what is the percentage that we are talking about? Like, okay, we're really getting a little bit technical, but I think there are many people, there are business owners here, right, who actually do spend on ads. And sometimes, frankly speaking, they will actually get stopped by, the ad spend is getting very, very too expensive. And they stop it. Maybe after 3 months, they stop it. And then visibility is gone. Then you are getting it like you're starting up all again, right? So from the 3K, what is the indicator for you to scale? Right. And how do we tell whether an ad still works, or should I, how long to test it out? Maybe those I think would be some pressing questions from entrepreneurs and SMEs. Yeah.
The easiest way to answer this is that first of all, I think what entrepreneurs need to know is only that few key metrics. So you want to know what is your ROAS. ROAS stands for return of ad spend. So return of ad spend meaning I spend $100, how much and then you divide your revenue divided by what you spend. That's ROAS. But I guess something that I want to share today is true ROAS, because let's say you engage an agency. Let's say you engage I don't know, a copywriters or stuff like that, or you have like loyalty fees. So you do want to minus that out. right? When you're calculating for your return. So when you minus those out and only you divide it by your spend, that's what we call true ROAS, which is what's the real number that you're actually getting. So I guess the key metrics that as an entrepreneur you need to know is right now, every dollar you spend, what is your true ROAS percentage? And then what in what benchmark consider successful to you? Because different industry have different profit margin. I know that electricity, its appliances like a super low, and then beauty on the other hand is like 50 times higher than them. So you do want to justify what's the ROAS that it's actually making a money for you. And then the next thing is your question was how do you know when to scale, right? Yeah. So it's when this particular ad or this particular targeting is actually performing way better than other thing, or when your testing and everything has already achieved, like you see your ROAS actually growing month by month, and then you just pick the top performing one to scale.
Yeah, I think when many people, so yes, last week, so last week I was talking to a property queen, okay, from Singapore. So she educated me about property in the sense of it's also your marketing, because retail space is a property space, right? So they also did the same thing, right? They also have the return of not ad spend, but the return of their property, the property revenue. So how much that particular revenue actually gave you the input of revenue streams, right? So they also calculate per square foot wise. Like very interestingly, they will calculate, okay, how much square feet. So they was talking about like the right feet. Like you can have like a very big property, like, but you're not churning in enough people who come in, to get that money out. So maybe that's not the right size. So last week, if let's say you guys want to check out, you can actually check back on my Facebook page about like right sizing the property. So I think the concept is the same here with ad spend. It's like you are putting out, an ad, right? And you want to understand what is the spending there to see the return, whether it's value. So many people get very complicated right now. It's like, oh, I want to check my CPC, cost per click, and then like get very, very complicated at it, like looking at every single different social media aspect or whatsoever. But I think if let's say we put it very simply about marketing, it's just basically calculating how much dollar in and how much you get out of it, right? And every industry is very different. The market
like
is different.
just to give you, like, because you talk about property, right? And I do have friends that are in that role, in that industry. So if we're talking about properties, then it's also so I guess as an entrepreneur, you need to define what is the right metrics to look at. So ROAS is typically it can apply for most of the thing. It can also apply for property as well. But if I'm managing a property client, I would say cost per lead is my key metrics rather than my ROAS, because I know, like property, one property that you sold, the return is like, I don't know, so much higher. But the thing is, so I think how do you get the cheapest lead, but then the higher conversion one? I think that's the key instead of ROAS, because for property, I don't know how they count, because there's so much months you need to like factor in, the months to sign a contract, and then I think it's a longer process. So I think if you're in a property role, property industry, I think the key metrics for the entrepreneurs or the managers to look at is actually cost per lead.
Yeah, I think every metrics is very different and very different in terms of it's very unique. So for example, like my industry, my leads are I take 6 months to close a sales cycle. So it was a very, very long time, right? So I will definitely be looking into like how can I get this leads easily into my for manufacturing per se. So it's 6 months, but once it gets converted, the margin is the revenue and the margin is very high. And for me to realize that, right, it's really just to find the right targeting, and no point like shooting like so many people and spending so much on the ads, but they are not your real targeting. So I think these are something, and here we're not really talking about like Facebook ads or whatsoever, but it's purely on like ad spends, right? It can be like you doing your Google, I don't know, Google SEO, or your Google ads, or even to the ad spends are basically, right? So for my side, it's like it's very different. My sales cycle is very long. It's like 6 months. We've already tracked that, and it took 6 months for you to convert a customer. So imagine like you'll be definitely wanting to aim. Oh yeah, then if that's the case, right, you will have like a very lagging indicator, right? Basically, because like those people that are purchasing online, it's going to be like super impromptu, right? Oh, this one I launched an ad, and then this is how much I get from the sales, because you can track that. Like for a lot of like B2Bs, we don't get to track it that fast. So is there any advice for those B2B as well?
I guess the suggestions that I would share for you for an industry like that, it's you wanted to go for the lowest hanging fruit. So maybe Facebook is not the right platform. So you have to understand whether are you native enough for your audiences. So those kind of cases, I would say your SEO should be the place that you should focusing on, because people who actually search for your thing, that particular word is very high intent. So for people who there are already needs in the markets anyway. The thing is, how do you actually gain this traffic, right? So I don't think in your case, I felt like Facebook, it's not the most efficient way, unless you can figure out an ad that is very intrigued to the audiences. But because it's a B2B thing, it's so specific. I think SEO and Google search keywords, those would be I think you would see higher return. But if let's say right now you're like, oh, I already started in Facebook ads, so what should I stop? Should I continue? I was like, yeah, of course you should continue. You should see. So based on the previous data, what does it shows you, and then you can perhaps actually understand your demographic a little bit more, and you can also, by demographic, I meant the typical age, region, and stuff. I think region is actually a huge part. So if your business is actually going global, you want to know, okay, the next time you launch an ad, even if it's on SEO, which country you definitely want to exclude, because it gives you very high cost per click or cost per lead actually, and then they give you very, very low conversion, and this kind of thing. So I think yeah, you just have to look into the data. And that's the thing I like about advertising, right? It can always prove by data.
Yeah, I think Mindvalley also do spend a lot about AI, right? I mean, they will soon go into like getting AIs to, monitor your ads. I'm not sure, but this is what I imagine about all the tech companies. Like they're going to like have this algorithm, that is being written behind it, and so that AI can actually track and help you to optimize the performance. Yeah, and I'm very sure that this is a lot of things that a lot of business is going to go over as well. And I just want to check with you, right? How much Mindvalley does on like content marketing, like not the typical ads, that kind of thing. Like what about content marketing, like putting content out like to other places?
We do have another, like for content, we do have like a dedicated team looking at blogs. We do have dedicated team for podcasts, social media, and every organic place that you can ever imagine that exists in the world. So there is like a dedicated person looking into it. But I think maybe one thing I can share is that the way we work in Mindvalley is something that you see on that work in organic. We actually use it in ads as well, or something that works in ads, we actually use it on organic as well. So it's not really a separate thing. It's not really a separate effort. So it's really on how to leveraging on the things that you already have. So sometimes I would also look at our masterclass before I actually start taking over a product. and then I would see like, oh, actually this part of the masterclass is really, really good. And then I would then discuss with the creative team to say like, oh, can we actually use this angle and then try this out in ads, kind of thing. So because the only differences in ads and social media content is that in ads you need to have like a very strong call to action, like sign up my masterclass right now. But in social media, maybe there's less of those things.
It's like more subtle. Like you have to like slowly sip in, into their minds, right?
Yeah. And because in social media it's organic, so you don't have to worry about like if it actually got convert. So you can actually really repurpose a lot of content, a lot of valuable content that you think it's resonating with the world. So you don't really need to care I think when you're at the organic side, your key metrics then is actually the reach and then the shareability, the emotions and the brand voice that you're working. But in ads, I would say we are still very much in the direct response category.
Yes, it's a more of a direct response thing. Hey, I just want to check with you also. So is Mindvalley on TikTok?
Oh yes. We are.
Is it?
As a platform, yes, I think we already got a blue tick. I remember during our last week report. We are on TikTok, and I will actually because I just had the meeting with TikTok team as well. We're going to buy ads there, and we're going to try out like TikTok native ads as well. So that's something very, very exciting for me to explore.
I will be super, I will be anticipating how Mindvalley. Okay, Mindvalley is like vision. Vision is like very zen, posh, I will be really curious how Mindvalley is going to, have that on a TikTok platform. Because TikTok platform is so different, right? It's like it's very like down to earth, low quality, and very impromptu, and somehow or other, I find that TikTok, right? If let's say you're a very ugly, I wouldn't say ugly, but you're not a very like posh or very glamorous person, you get more attention. I don't know how the algorithm works, but somehow that's how they really bring out like the grassroots. I would say it's like bringing out the grassroots YouTubers or grassroots like people that uses the video and medias. Their algorithm prioritize those people, right? So, well, I'll be super excited to like see what sort of content. I mean, have you guys like started to post a lot of content on it already?
Yeah, and I think the social media team definitely has a hang of it. But I think Vision himself is also, I think he's very versatile. Like he's actually more funny than you thought. He's not always that serious. So recently we actually have a lot of humor ads going out as well. We just had our Mindvalley Summit, which is actually a online event that we invite all the authors to go online and stuff. And it's completely free as well. So I think there, like the ads that we're trying to pull out for that campaign is actually very, very humor based. Like Vision even Vision even has the ad to tell the employers to like, why are you not letting your employee to actually take an off on Friday? To just be on Mindvalley Summit, because they can grow themselves in so many ways. And Vision also have yet another ad that is actually calling everyone in Mindvalley a nerd, because we are so nerd in what we do. So this is like a nerd party kind of thing for us to gather around and stuff like that. So I think we are actually incorporating quite a lot of humor recently in that campaigns.
I will be definitely like we'll be very excited to see how you're going to portray yourself on TikTok, because early on I was also talking to other people on like TikTok, like should I go on like TikTok platform, like what should be my like image is, and it's a whole new world, right? In a TikTok world, it's very different. And you have like the TikTok Chinese and the TikTok US. They also have a very different kind of demographic. And Instagram, like all these are like getting more and more overwhelmed already. So if let's say you have like maybe one or two sentences for maybe one or two advice for like the entrepreneurs, like, hey, I want to pick how many social media platform to focus in how long? You know, the magic formula. What would be your advice?
Um, I don't think people should be overwhelmed by platforms because TikTok, I'm actually saying from a advertising, meaning paid advertising performance perspective. Social media, of course, you should try because it's free. It's you can actually gain a community over there. So I think there's a different perspective. But as a company, where are we going with TikTok? Is we just want to see if this new platform is it's performing because on the algorithm. And frankly, we are relatively new as well. So we are working with TikTok team to we have the support from them to make our product as native as possible when it goes to TikTok platform. But as an entrepreneur, I think you need to know the differences, how ads should look like in different platforms. So in Facebook, in Instagram stories, in Instagram reels these days, if you can produce, so it depends on your ability, right? If you are able to produce a really native ad that is very native to the platforms, then by all means go for it. But if you think that the TikTok way and everything is too new for you and you don't have the resources to go for it, I think first of all, you don't have to give up. You can always repurpose. It's all about creativity. And then, yeah. So as long as you can get a very native ads in that platform, you should most likely going to be work.
So, what will be the new next platform? Okay, let's talk a little bit techy, like very very geek kind of thing. Like, so what are we looking at next? You know, besides whatever that we've knew, would Clubhouse be another one?
No, because Clubhouse don't have. I mean, I'm from advertising team, so everything I speak is from the ad perspective. I don't think Clubhouse has a ad space yet.
Yeah, they don't. I think it's just I think it's still very new, but they somehow pick up a lot of attention.
But it's dying.
Yeah, because that day I was like trying to get on a Clubhouse. So they were not on Android, right? Just to quickly check. They were not on Android. So that day I was trying to get on a forum and I couldn't get in. Like I downloaded it and I couldn't get in. I was like, why do you let me download in the first place? So it was like a very quick kind of thing they pick up. Like they really pick up very, very fast. I think they utilize the KOLs to get it there. And now they were like, somehow or other, like the momentums are like gone. So I was really interested to like take a look at how they pick up the momentum and really take off this new kind of platform because it's very forum based, a lot of discussion based kind of thing. But
I think Clubhouse is definitely a good place for you to build community, to build a relationship. I personally been on Clubhouse a few times and I got to speak with directly with the speakers that I was following for a really long time, and I have like really personal and direct question. And imagine I'm actually in a call with them just like on myself. I think Clubhouse is definitely a place for you to build community, not for you to sell a product. I felt that's my take, I think.
I see. Yeah. Okay. So we're almost towards the end of the show. I want you to give us some quick tips for people who are now broke to because of the pandemic, right? So like my group is like pandemic proof entrepreneurs. So we're all got hit by the pandemic, and like right now, like I don't have much money to spend. Right. What is your golden nugget? Like, where should I start? Like, if I say I were to reset my entire thing again, like, where should I go? Like, what is the minimum? Or is there a way that I can still get out there to do marketing? Yeah.
So enough about Mindvalley. I actually have a side business, and I started maybe 3 months ago, and it was profitable since the first month. And at the time, I did not actually pump in ads money immediately. I think I think all I done was like I do a lot of content in social media, both in statics and videos from stories and stuff like that. So I share a lot of content. So my advice to people who are just starting out, or maybe people who don't have so much budget, is to first of all set your intention right, and also don't get obsessed with the numbers. Like, don't get obsessed with the numbers of likes, don't get obsessed with the numbers of followers and things like that, because I can tell you at a time my followers in that account was only maybe less than 1K, so maybe around 500 each, and I can already get 6 figures in sales. So don't get obsessed with numbers that you shouldn't be obsessed for, because numbers of likes really doesn't meant much these days. And if you're an entrepreneur, you should always be very straightforward to look at revenue first.
Yeah, I think
so that's my.
Yeah, okay, so come to think about it, because my company YouTube or whatsoever doesn't really have a lot of subscribers, but to be very, very honest, my content drive me quite a lot of leads. Like, I have a lot of leads coming from like my YouTube. I have leads coming from like the things that I posted out like on Facebook. It's I mean, I think you really did get the point very right. Like, right now you can see many people will have like a lot of views on a Facebook audience, or you have a lot of like I don't know, like likes, shares, but at the end of the day, whether can we convert into real money, like real monetary revenue, it's another big thing. And of course, I have a very close partner that is always obsessed with likes, and and he loves a lot of likes. Okay, and
I think I know who is that person too.
and he would be dying to buy a lot of lights if, let's say, there is a mechanism to buy lights. But to me, I think if I look at my platform myself, I'll probably have like 200 over subscribers, and those subscribers are probably not those people that are inquiring. You see, a lot of people who actually get hooked, they don't even bother liking my channel, right? What they did was they straight away go into the inquiry and ask me a question, or even request for a code. So it doesn't really tell you, that there is no such a way that you can actually track your likes. Then after that, from the likes you can convert them into like leads. I don't think that works anymore. So that's also one of my personal share lah. So to all the entrepreneurs out there, don't give up. Don't think that when there's no following in your page that you cannot get any revenue. I mean, I don't think that's true lah. Basically, you just have to get the target audience. I think at the end of the day, it's just the business model and the target audience as well, right?
Yeah, I think when you are just starting out, is basically like one of my key values that I always like to share is sustainability. So if you put out so much money at the beginning and things didn't get sustained, eventually you're gonna die out even faster as well. So I think first of all, sustainability, and then set your intention right, because I guess the numbers of followers and all this like fancy numbers will come along the way when you keep on doing the right things.
Yeah. And I think Shin is so amazing that you only have like less than 1,000 followers, and then you can generate 6K revenue. That's really amazing. So for those people who like to know more about Shin, you can personally IG, not Facebook, but IG Shin with this handler. And if you'd like to know more about business models, strategies, you can follow my page on I am Samantha Chi. If, let's say, you are entrepreneur who apparently got hit by the pandemic, do join our Facebook group. So we share a lot of like good stuff inside that's genuine for you to help you to grow your business, or even pivot from your old model to a new model. All right, so thank you so much, Shane, and thanks, and everyone have a very, very good weekend. I'll see you guys next Friday. Bye.
Thank you. Bye. Good night.
Good night.